All right, hey Chris, thank you for joining me on this. I'm so excited. This is going to be a great thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this little Vegas adventure. So, where exactly are we going right now? And please tell me that it's an all-you-can-eat steak buffet.
No,
I'm hungry.
No, it's not that. I'll tell you what. We're out here. I've got this big thing going on. I got a big webinar on October 12th. It's a Wednesday, and decided we'd do it here in Vegas because, gosh, it's just the perfect backdrop for what I'm about to announce.
Well, why are we here in Vegas? I mean, I know we've got your big announcement and everything, but why not our studio in Florida or heck, even Wall Street, New York?
Well, that's a fair question, and I'll tell you, part of it is real simple. A lot of folks look at Vegas and they look at Wall Street and they treat them the same way, and they're not the same at all. So what I wanted to do is the opportunities that I see that are developing this fall are opportunities we haven't seen in 14 years, not since the great financial crisis of 2008. And I think it's the perfect backdrop to help explain a new system that we've got going, a new program, a new strategy investing. And honestly, if I could shout it from the rooftops, I would, but I'm going to take one of the Sky Suites at the Aria Hotel, and maybe that's enough to shout it from.
Well, I think mission has been accomplished. There is a lot of chatter going on out there. In fact, I think I've even heard some people speculating that you're going to be moving out of options, moving away from options, which is crazy, right?
I am neither going to confirm nor deny that.
Are you kidding me?
No.
You just went full plausible deniability on me here. That's very
right,
interesting
because the announcement we're going to make, again, it's a strategy that I haven't used before. It's a brand new strategy. Well, I shouldn't say I haven't used it before. I did use it very successfully back in 2008, and I think we've got a great opportunity to come up to do it again. And again, when you look at Vegas and you look at all those people in the casinos, they approach Wall Street very much the same way. When you look at how people invest, last year it just became all speculation. They weren't really investing, they were gambling.
Right.
And that's what Vegas is known for. And when you walk into a casino in Vegas and you consider gambling, the odds are always against you. I mean, look at roulette, right? You've got all of these numbers on a roulette table. You got the black and the red. And a lot of folks think, I could play black and red all day long, and eventually I'm going to make some money off it.
Yeah.
But what do you think? What do you think that is? What do you think the odds are of winning at roulette?
Well, like you said, you got black or red, so it's a 50-50 proposition, right?
Yeah, you'd think that, but you're forgetting about the two green slots. And no matter how good you are at whatever game you're playing over in Vegas, roulette, the best you're going to do is you've got maybe a 48% chance of winning. The house always has a better edge.
You are absolutely right. No wonder these casinos have so much money to build such big and extravagant places.
That's right. They have the edge. So what I try to do is I try to gain an edge in Wall Street. I try to use my strategies to figure out where the risk reward works in my direction. There's low risk, there's high reward, and a high probability of success. That's really all I'm looking at doing.
Is that why you love options so much?
That is why I love options, because it's exactly the system that gives me the low risk and high reward. I mean, we could trade options all day long and do really well with it. But again, what I think is happening in the markets right now, we're going to have a chance to do something maybe outside of the option range.
Yeah. How did you get into trading to begin with in the first place?
How did I get started? Well, I guess it's kind of a long story, maybe a different story than most folks. I've always been interested in the stock market ever since I was even a little kid. But when I was actually able to legally open a brokerage account and start trading, I did it right away. I was 18 years old when I passed my stockbroker's licensing test.
18?
18, became a broker. It's kind of a nerd, 18 years old. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to become a stockbroker. But that's what I did. And I used to be purely a stock guy. I would trade stocks all the time. And I would look for fundamentally undervalued stocks. I'd measure them for risk and reward. I'd do that sort of stuff. And I was a true value guy. I was Graham and Dodd. I was Warren Buffett disciple, all that sort of stuff. And then one day in the office, I was hanging out in the back of the office with a handful of other traders, and they were jumping up and down, shouting about some money they made trading options. I had really never heard of options before, other than whatever information I needed to pass the broker's test.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. So that day I bought 4 OEX, that's the S&P 100, 4 call options on the OEX, and paid $1.50 for them. It's $150 each. So I put $600 into the market, which, for an 18-year-old kid, this is a decent amount of money.
Big, yeah.
And then I went to school because I was still in college. Had just started college, actually. And I left, came back a few hours later, got back to the office, and punched up what was going on in the market. Market was up big that day, and the OEX call options I paid $1.50 for that morning were trading for $4.50. So I had tripled my money. It was a 200% return. I said, well, I'm not greedy. I'll go ahead and take that. So I sold it, made $1,200 on my first trade, and I thought, okay, let's try it again. So the next day I did the same thing with IBM. I bought a handful of IBM call options. And the same thing played out over a couple of days. It doubled or a little bit better than a double. Tried it again with Dell Computer a few days later. And then I had Unisys, which is, I don't even think they're around anymore, but it was sort of the same thing. So I put, $500 or $600 into every trade I did for a little while, and every single one worked out. And I went, no kidding, 17 for 17, didn't have a losing trade. Every single trade either doubled or better, and I was riding high. I thought, well, this is the way to do it. But I'll tell you something, Chris. When you're 18 years old and you go 17 for 17 and you take a small amount of money, I think my account started at $5,000 and it became $50,000 after that run. You change a little bit, you start feeling a little bit invincible.
Yeah. And
so I thought, you know what? Forget about this. No more playing with nickels and dimes. No more small $500 or $600 bets. I decided to take my entire account, the whole $50,000 wad, and I picked 4 or 5 different trades, threw them all in there. You can probably guess what happened. It was brutal. It was the most brutal knockdown you could possibly imagine. The market lost a ton of money. $50,000 account went all the way back down. But I thought, if you can make money that quick with options and you can lose money that quick with options, because things happen so fast, there must be some way to use the options market to consistently trade better, to consistently lower your risk and increase your possible reward.
Sure.
And so I spent the next year or so experimenting with strategies to do that. And I guess the long and the short of it is, I've been trading options for 40 years. I think I do a pretty good job doing it. And it's all a matter of risk and reward. Lower your risk, increase your potential reward, and go from there. I don't bet all the time. I don't make silly bets. I don't try to hit a home run every time I step up to the plate. I just want to make consistent, smart decisions that deal with low risk and high reward. And here we are 40 years after that. And like I said, it's been a good run.
Sounds like the way to do it.
I think so.
I can't relate all that well. I went 6 for 7 from the free throw line once, but never 17 in a row.
See, but that's it. Some folks are athletes, some not so much. But the skill, everybody has that sort of a skill, right? So we've got to find what it is that we're competent at, what we're good at, and go from there.
Right.
And Chris, here we are.
No way. Oh man. Hey everybody, Chris Hurt here. Listen, I hope you're enjoying these Off the Record with Jeff videos as much as we are. I just want to remind you, if you have not already done so, be sure to sign up as a VIP and get a suite of bonuses that you'd normally have to pay as much as $5,000 to access for free. Absolutely true. Your cost is zero.